Hi everybody, it's Mark here. I just came on to do a little comparison of two decks that are based in Greek myths. A friend of mine gave me this deck yesterday, and full disclosure, this is a knockoff version of the Circe Tarot. Now, neither he nor I would support a knockoff deck. I don't have any knockoff decks. And once he realized it was such, he ordered the authentic deck, and so he no longer needed or wanted this deck, and he gave it to me. And again, financially, I wouldn't support a knockoff deck, but since it was just, given to me, and I kind of feel that takes the stink off of it a little bit. Anyway, I'll use it and see how things go. Maybe if I really like it, I will purchase the authentic one as well. In any case, the deck I'm going to be comparing it to is the original vintage version of the Mythic Tarot. And I'm just going to look at the major arcana and just see where each of the decks land in terms of the figures and myths they have chosen to represent the cards. In the Circe Tarot, all the majors and also the minors have specific Greek characters attached to specific myths. And so it's kind of scattershot through the suits. Whereas in the Mythic Tarot, each of the suits, wands, cups, swords, and coins, has one storyline each. So the storyline for the wands is Jason and the Argonauts, and you see cards related to that all the way through. Whereas in this deck, the wands could be any character. It's not one specific story. So anyway, having said that, I just thought I'd do a comparison. It seems that they have landed on very much, in most cases, the same myth for each card. So that's encouraging, because it kind of shows that there is a certain energy to that myth that really does apply to that card. I don't think that the creator necessarily was copying the older Mythic Tarot. I don't really know. So in any case, the Fool card in both are Dionysus. I'm not sure why the mask is happening here, or the entire outfit. This feels more appropriate to the god, but in any case, the booklet does say it's Dionysus in each. Of course, the magician is in Hermes in each. I really like this magician. You really see the Mercury vibe in the card. Now here's the first time that we differ. This is Cassandra, a soothsayer, and this is Persephone in the Mythic Tarot. She's the one that goes into the underworld. We've got Demeter in both cases for the Empress. Emperor, there is a difference. This is Oceanus, one of the original Titans, and this is Zeus, which makes sense for an emperor. They both landed on Chiron for the Hierophant. As a teacher, it makes total sense. Now, the lovers are different. It's interesting because here they use Cupid and Psyche as their lovers. And in the Mythic Tarot, the entire story of Cupid and Psyche is the Cups suit. Here they have Paris making his choice between Athena, Aphrodite, and Hera. Oddly, it's Hades for the Chariot. I guess he rode a chariot and kidnapped Persephone, but I kind of prefer Ares as the chariot card, the god of war. Now, the funny thing about strength is they both feature the Nemean lion, but this is Circe with the Nemean lion. And I really like how she seems to be taming it and whispering to it. And here is Hercules conquering the Nemean lion. I do prefer this version of it. The Hermit is Kronos in both versions. The Fates are the three women in both versions. Now here's where we have Zeus showing up as Justice. I don't really get that vibe. I much prefer Athena as Justice. The Hangman in both cases is Prometheus. Makes sense. And this death card is just a random knight of death. It doesn't really have a name. And here is now when Hades shows up, so I think I prefer that. In both cases, we have Temperance as Iris, Goddess of the Rainbow, so I would like to have seen a rainbow in this card here. Now we differ again. This is the Minotaur as the devil, and this is Pan as the devil, so I think that makes a little more sense. The Tower, we have a difference. This is Icarus. I guess he's falling from the sky, and they've thrown a tower in there. And this is Poseidon destroying Minos's tower there. We have a difference here. This is just sort of a sea nymph, no real name or myth. And this is Pandora, which is, I think, a really good version, because when she released the swarm of awfulness into the world, she also released hope, which is a very star card. Here we have Selene as the moon goddess. I don't know much about that myth, but I like the version of the card. And here we have Hecate as a very classic moon goddess. We differ with the Sun card. This is the son of Hyperion. I guess he is the one that rode the chariot. I'm not really sure of the myth, but I think Apollo as the sun god makes more sense. Judd, that's my cat, rubbing against the iPad and moving it. This is Thanatos, I guess the god of death. I'm not sure how he differs from Hades. And here we have Mercury or Hermes making a return as the sort of, what is it called when you are the messenger or the guide to the, he's a psychopomp, that's it, he's a psychopomp, a guide to the dead. And at the end we have sort of, again, another sort of unnamed figure. And here this is Hermaphrodites, which I don't really love the tininess of the figure, and it seems a bit awkward, but I do like the split of male and female there. So there you have it. I haven't used the Circe Tarot deck, so I can't say how it reads, but I will say there are a lot of cards in the deck where the figures are directional. In other words, they're looking or going in a specific direction, and that really makes for good storytelling between the cards, so I'm hopeful in that regard. There are some cards I kind of feel, really not many, I think they really did a good job, the creators of the deck, but the main complaint about the Circe Tarot is the Four of Discs, the Page of Discs, and the King of Discs. All three really lean into the, what I would call the miser vibe, which is fine on the 4, of course, but when you put it on the page as well as you know, the king, how are you going to differentiate between those three cards in a reading? I have to say I much prefer the artwork on this deck. But anyway, we'll see how the other one reads. So that's all for now. Take care.